just talking about Ouija boards, and your computer screwed up.
That's what I'm saying. It's like whenever we mention something, all of a sudden my computer would go haywire.
It's
And
kind
now
of
it's
like walking into a room, and you flick the light on, and the light bulb goes out. I've been told that when the light bulb goes out, instead of having to replace it, it's like one of your ancestors or whatever are with you, kind of thing. You know? I
Yeah,
don't
I've
know.
heard
I've
stuff like that
heard
too.
that.
But I've had. So where do we leave off? So I've had the house that me and my wife bought. The original owner was 93. She passed away in the house, and she had a couple kids here, older. Of course, they were older, had moved on. We haven't really. My daughter says she had an orb in her bedroom one day. Like, all right. But I'm telling you, one night I was sleeping. My wife was downstairs watching TV, and all of a sudden, a voice right in my ear called my name. It was the weirdest freaking thing I'd ever had like that, and it was just so. Yeah, I don't know if this lady's here. I would like to do a Ouija board thing. My wife will absolutely not allow a Ouija board in the house.
No, don't do it, Angus. Don't do that.
I was going to get a tattoo of a Ouija board on my thigh.
Angus, let me ask you.
And then use something else for the planchette. But
was that entity that talked to you, was it friendly?
it just said my name.
No, it wasn't like you weren't scared of it, or
No,
it was like
it was just bizarre.
it's like this is my house, get out, kind of thing.
No, none of us have ever had that here. The difference between like residual haunting, where it's a time thing and things repeat over and over again because it's something. So we weren't living here; we were living in a different house at that point. But my dog had passed away, or we hadn't put to sleep anyway. And my wife heard it, my kids heard it. For like weeks after that, you would hear his collar because he wore a choke collar running through the house, through the basement where he always stayed. And
Right.
it's like, so my mom passed away a few years back, and my dad was always a little bit skeptical about this stuff. And he's had that. I explained it to him. He says, I hear somebody coming up the steps, because my mom would go grocery shopping every Saturday. He said it was like the same time every Saturday. Hear somebody come up the steps, the door doesn't move, but you hear open and close. And I said, that's residual. Now he kind of understands that. But he also has a clock in his living room. It's battery operated, and it stops at the exact same time. And I'm sorry, but I can't remember the time. But I happened to look it up, and it's one of these angel things where somebody is watching over you. And then he'll reset it, and then it will stop the exact same time again. It's like, is it a coincidence that it's stopping at the same time? I don't know. But there's too much to that happens that you can't just write it all off as that's crap or a coincidence. There's just too much. That's my belief.
But it's also depending on what you're tuned into.
Like I said, if you don't believe in the paranormal, you're never going to see a ghost, or you're never going to have anything paranormal happen to you.
And for all I've seen, or all I've been through, I've only seen one, and that was when I was 6 years old, 5 or 6. We saw my great grandmother in the living room, sitting on the couch, watching TV when we got home. So me and my 3 siblings walked home from school, walked up the front yard, and there she is sitting on the couch a month or 2 after she passed. And we sat on the stairs, and we kept looking in the window, and she hung out there for what seemed like a half an hour, and we wouldn't go in the house until my mother got home. And then she's like, why are you sitting in the driveway? Like, we're not going in the house. Great grandma's in there. We're not going in there. They had to go in, check the house, but that's the only time I've ever seen any ghost spirit. I mean, I've had a gazillion experiences, but only seen one.
Where something manifests itself.
Yeah, I mean,
but that's the same. My wife's mom passed away when my wife was like 15, and me and my wife started dating, and I was at her house, and she had to go pick up her brother somewhere. So I'll be back in a little bit. So I'm sitting in the house, and I'm telling you, if her mom wasn't there or somebody wasn't there, it was the weirdest freaking feeling. I'm like, I have to go outside. I can't sit in this house anymore. And I went out and I sat on the porch. And back then, actually, John, I used to smoke. And I was outside having a cigarette. And my then girlfriend pulls up and says, "What are you doing outside?" And I told her, I said, "There's somebody in that house that doesn't want me in there." I said, "That's all there is to it." I said, "There's something there that is watching me."
The hair on the back of your neck stands up.
Mm-hmm.
One time, this might be like deja vu-ish, but maybe I'm not. Maybe I shouldn't change the subject. But I used to make deliveries in New York City, Manhattan, a lot, and I was up on the Upper West Side, and I had to make a delivery to this person. And usually, you just leave it at the doorman or bring it to the front office, and they take care of it for the people that live there. It wasn't no office building; it was where people lived. And they were just like, just take the elevator up to the 11th floor or whatever. And I get off the elevator and I'm like, I've been here before,
Yep.
This looks so familiar. It was like, oh. And then to top that off, to put the cherry on I walked down the hallway, knocked on the door, and it was Carly Simon in a robe, with I don't know what I delivered to her. It was a small box, weighed maybe 2 or 3 pounds, but it was Carly Simon. I knew it was. But just getting off that elevator, I was like, whoa,
Were you harder than a $40 bag of Jawbreakers?
No, I mean, I used to meet a lot of celebrities. I don't want to get off track. I used to see a lot of them. But that was a very strange, I didn't want to get off the ghost thing.
No, but with deja vu, how they say elephants know where water is because they learn it. It's they inherit it from their grandparents, and sometimes I wonder about that. So with deja vu, is it something that we inherited from somebody else?
Something passed on.
Yeah. Did your great grandfather, your grandfather, somebody do something very similar to this or that same thing, and it just comes into your mind? It's
because that building that I went into, it's a very old building. Like my father or my grandfather or my great grandfather could have been in that building at one time.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Is it something like that, that's where that deja vu comes from?
Well, we got off the ghost thing.
No, that's fine. John, it's
along the same lines.
But so, you ever heard of shadow people?
Yes.
John?
I don't think I really do.
So, a shadow person is a perception of a patch of a shadow. This is something I'm reading here. As a living species, humanoid figure, sometimes interpreted as the presence of a spirit or other entity by believers in paranormal. A number of religions, legends, and belief systems describe supernatural entities such as shades in the underworld and various shadow creatures have long been a staple of folklore and ghost stories, such as Islamic jinn and the Choctaw. I cannot say this word, but so, I mean, it's basically you're seeing a shadow. I was at an old hotel in Fort Wayne, Indiana. This is probably 2004, 2005. So the school system I went to, I can't do the math. Tony, can you do that? 18?
What?
2005 to 2023, is it 18 years?
Yeah.
All right, so 18 years. And it takes two to figure that out. But,
thank you, Connecticut school systems.
So I'm walking down the hallway, heading to my room, and there is a shadow on the wall going the opposite direction. But no person, a shadow. And that was it. And I was like, and I had never heard of this shadow person thing before. And I was like, well, that's just freaking weird. And I got into my hotel room. I double locked the door and everything. I went into the bathroom and cleaned up and, all kinds of good stuff. But it was the bizarrest thing. And then I started seeing later on, a couple years later, watching these shows about shadow people. And, some of them are pretty, they don't know what they are, if you believe in them, evil. But there's always this one guy with a hat. This guy did not have a hat. They call him the Shadow Man, and he's supposed to be pretty evil. But a lot of people have reported seeing him. So to me, is that interdimensional? Because a lot of things that people say are interdimensional, like Bigfoot and all that, going in between dimensions. Is that what we're looking at? Is that kind of the same thing?
Well, that's like what was running around the house in Coventry. I mean, if we were able to actually convert non-believers. My father was a big non-believer. He thought we were making all this crap up, all these stories up of stuff going on in the house. And then one night he's in bed and laying there, and all of a sudden the light in the closet goes off, and it's a pull chain.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, that's not cool. So he gets up, pulls the chain, shuts the light off, gets back in the bed, and he watches the chain yank again and come on. And he's like, that's not cool. So he goes over, he just shuts the door and puts the covers over his head and goes to bed. But he got up the next day and he apologized for being so critical.
Naive. Yeah, I don't want to call it naive, but it's not naive. It's just there is other dimensions out there. Like I said, when I was there and my dad passed away, I believe when you die, you go into a different dimension. Just because your body has passed, it's a mechanical thing. It's like your Mustang outside your car, but there is another dimension. There really is.
Well, if we're supposed to be made up of energy, and they say you can't destroy energy, we have to go somewhere. Whether it's a different plane, a different, we've got to go somewhere. If we can't be destroyed energy-wise, we have to go somewhere.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know what a conscience is. I do. I actually have the answer to myself. But my conscience is kind of like my guardian angel in a way because it tells me do this or don't do that. I don't know.
Voice.
I have a good conscience. What goes around comes around. That's the way I feel.
Yeah, karma.
Yeah. Well, whatever you want to call it.
But yeah, I mean, but that's true. I mean, the way you treat people and situations is going to come back and treat you the same way. It's all it means to me.
Especially if you believe in guardian angels. If you're running around being a jerk, how much is that guardian angel going to, step up and be by your side if you want to be a tool all your life?
I mean, but we were all kids like 20 years ago, we'll say, and 20 years ago, and you always look back and you go, God, I used to do some stupid stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and you start thinking about certain times as how did I not kill myself doing this or get and you start looking, you got to figure somebody was watching out for you. Whoever that may be, somebody had to have been watching out for you. In my personal life, there's been too many things again where I can't write it off as a coincidence. It's like I should have died when that happened. I should have died when I did this. I mean, somebody had to been, and a lot of it is, to me, is awareness. I always tell people, not people, but my kids and stuff, always pay attention to what's going on around you. Don't just lock yourself out. You go out to dinner somewhere, you keep an eye on what's going on around you, because if something happens, you need to be aware. Watch the situation, watch the people, and just try to get a feeling of what's happening. I really believe that's what's that. And if you have a guardian angel watching you, and you have that awareness, you're going to protect yourself from stupid shit happening.
You can feel it.
Yeah, you can feel. Okay, we'll get way off the subject here.
No, I mean, I always thought I grew up with street smarts. I was never book smart, but I had
Yeah,
street
and
smarts.
exactly. I think street smarts are worth way more than book smarts, because
Yeah.
it's a situational awareness. So in 2001, on September, that must have been the 9th. No, wait. September 11th was on a Tuesday, 10th, 9th. So 10th, 9th.
Hey,
September.
Raul, you see that scar on Angus's head? Is that where
Yeah.
they did the lobotomy on him?
Yeah.
Yes, it was. I had a home kit.
They let me use the ice pick.
So on September 8th, 2001, Raul and I made it. We took a day. We went up to the drag races in New Hampshire. We drove up there a couple hours. We went up there, and I had told him, I said, something really feels off. You remember that?
Yeah.
I said, there's something off. It just, the whole atmosphere, the vibe, everywhere we went, it just seemed, and it was, so then 3 days later, we have September 11th. And I called him up. I said, I that had to have been it. I mean, there was just the whole aura of everything just didn't seem correct. There was just like, we knew something was coming. And they say that about dogs and cats. Dogs and cats can sense things that are going to happen, like earthquakes or whatever, that there's going to be some kind of shift and stuff. And I swear to God, and I was like, the whole weekend was like, there's just something weird. There's something coming. So now I look out for that feeling again. And it's like, I just pay attention to what's going on. Always have, and I'll never stop.
When you get those feelings now, you actually pay attention to them.
That's it.
I always have. I mean, yes. But like I said, I didn't know what, but I knew there was something just weird was going to happen, something different. But I've always told my wife, I used to have a lot of premonitions, and I've seen that's kind of seemed to gone away now. But I'd have dreams about premonitions, and
I have so many dreams, and they're almost reoccurring, but they're different.
Mhm.
And they're always with ex-family members that have passed away. And then I actually sometimes in these dreams I see people that haven't passed away yet, and it scares me because I'm like, are they next? You know,
Yeah. Yep.
it hasn't happened yet, but and then I've been in these dreams where people know me and I don't know them, but they must be like really far into the end, great, whatever,
Right, into your ancestry.
something like that.
But
But I was always welcome, and I felt so welcome in these dreams. And I hated when I wake up in the 4 o'clock in the morning. I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning every morning just to go to the bathroom. I'm sorry I said that. That's too much information.
John, the important thing was you got up.
Yeah, don't have a dream like you're in the bathroom.
I'll get off track here. One time I had a dream that I was in a spaceship, and I'm not kidding. And Houston was telling me it's okay to go in your suit. It's okay to go in your suit. And I woke up, I'm like, those sons of bitches. I'm like, I've never been in space. How would I know that?
Well, the funny part is, recently, well, I always dream. I have anywhere from 3 to 6 dreams a night. and I was asking everybody I knew, how often do you dream? Oh, I don't. Oh, I don't. Maybe once a year. I don't. And it's like, well, how come nobody else is dreaming, but I'm dreaming 3 to 6 times a night, and they're all vivid.
I can't imagine not dreaming. That sounds
Scary.
to me.
I like my dreams. For the most part, I like them. Some of them are scary. I wake up in the morning sometimes with anxiety, and I hate that. I hate starting the day off with anxiety because of a dream.
But so kind of back to premonition. So I don't remember if I said this on a different podcast, but one time I had this. I was at my parents' house, so this is 92, and my parents had they have a two family, and my grandmother and my great aunt lived downstairs, and I basically kind of grew up with my grandmother. We three family house, two family house. So I was over there, and my dad was playing some old VHS movies, home movies, and one of them was my grandmother, and she's standing there, and it was like the weirdest thing. All of a sudden, it just froze in my mind. I could see an ambulance, I could see things happening. That next morning, she was taken to the hospital, and she died 5 days later. So it's to me, is it like, was she, because she was in bed at that time, because I know what time she would go to bed. So was that her way of telling me what was going to happen, or did I just have that a premonition that this is going to happen? But it was totally bizarre.
Yeah, where's the message coming from?
Yep. But so my brother, where they took my grandmother to the hospital, my brother lived. He says it's exactly 20 miles, pretty much. And my brother's not a bullshitter. His wife might be a little bit, but he's not. But he said they lived in the middle of freaking nowhere, and there was a knock, 3 knocks on the door, and my brother went to answer the door, and it was this older gentleman dressed in old time clothes and everything, and he told them he was 20 miles off his course. And my brother's like, where are you going? He says, oh, Wyndham. And he goes, so they thought about it after. Basically, the guy kind of, they closed the door. He was gone. But my brother said, how would you know you're 20 miles off your course? If you're lost.
Yeah, if you're lost.
And, my grandfather passed away years before either we never knew him. And so was that my grandfather coming? Because they always say the 3 knocks of death.
Right.
It was 3 distinct knocks. It was just weird shit. Like
I always heard that deaths in the family runs in threes sometimes. Is that what you're talking about?
No. They if you look up 3 knocks of death, if you hear somebody knock 3 times, that's usually a signal of death is coming.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's celebrities that die in groups of 3s. Man, if I have a family that died in groups of 3s, I think that would be a little much.
No, I mean it doesn't come like
they are.
It's. I mean, I don't want to be an old decrepit person where somebody's got to wipe my ass. I'd rather be dead because I'm not worried about dying. I am not afraid. I don't want to leave my family, but I don't want to have them wiping my butt. I don't think you guys do either.
No, I'm not going to wipe your butt.
I know the show is being recorded, so you could delete that.
No, I agree, and I'm not afraid of dying. I am, or I should say, I'm not afraid of death. I am a little bit more. If it happened quickly, that's all I want. I don't want to be impaled on anything or go through some long freaking thing where I'm, immobile, a vegetable or whatever, and I'm knowing that the end is coming. If it happened quickly, whatever, it happens.
What, you don't want to get one arm blown off and
Nope.
and then get the other arm blown off, and then
it depends what I'm doing. If I'm fighting somebody to the end that's trying to take over the world, that's fine. we'll have at it. But just to end up in some freaking room bleeding out in the middle of the street or something like that, nah.
I still feel like a kid. I still feel like a kid in my head, which I act like a kid, but
I
I'm
think we all do.
59 years old. You know.
I know people that are younger than me, and they act like they're old. It's like, really, what the hell is wrong with you? That's what keeps you sane. It keeps you young. Your body might get old, but hey, so what?
So I go out in the yard and I work for like maybe 20, 30 minutes, and then I take a break. It's what I do. You know. I mean, it is what it is, right, Raul?
Yes.
You know. Yeah, that's what we. I mean, that's why when I was young, a young buck, people used to hire me because I had a strong back. And now my back is broken, so I can't do it no more. They weren't stupid, were
I refer to myself as a rented mule.
they? I can't believe you guys are in the same garage because the lighting is so much different.
Oh,
He's trying to hide the ugliness.
yeah, he's got a halo over him.
It's the good and evil.
I see the same Home Depot box up there.
No, that's a different one.
Oh, it is. So you're a Home Depot fan.
No, not really. I like their boxes though.
I
They're made of cardboard. So, John, with you living in North Carolina, you've never heard of the Brown Mountain Lights? I wish they'd change that name.
What? I mean, the only thing I could configure that to is like these orbs or something like that that kind of float around the mountains.
Yeah, and it's a phenomenon since like the late 1800s or something, and it just unfortunately, our controlled library on the internet, Wikipedia and Google, they say it's all crap. But I've seen it on TV shows, and they talk about it and try to investigate what's causing it. They say Wikipedia and Google say that it's caused by trains, lights from a train. If you see it on these shows that investigate it, there's no freaking way.
Well,
But this is also not the only place in the world. I've seen this in other places on TV that they investigate, kind of the same phenomena.
well, that's like before this week, before the show, I went on to look at disprove the ghost theory. And all these shows talking about ghosts aren't real, phenomenon's not real, it's all in your head. And I'm like, everything they try to disprove, it's like, you weren't at my house in Coventry watching the tennis ball be thrown across the room. That's not my imagination. There's 3 people to witness it. How is that not real?
Yeah, it's what do they call it? A mass hallucination.
Yeah.
Well, I was just talking about street smarts a little while ago, and it's like I really do believe I had that. I'm not bragging on myself, but I could walk down a street with my family, and I'm trying to protect them, but and you just pin everybody out for what they are. And I'm sorry to say, it's like judge a book by its cover, but it's not that, but it is that.
Yeah.
It's a vibe or whatever you want to call it, the energy they put out.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
You ever see those pictures they take of people to get your aura, the different lights and stuff around you?
No.
Oh, we should have OP on the show for that one. I don't know.
Who?
OP, the occult priestess.
Yeah, we'd have to retouch on this topic again with some other people, but yeah, I believe that because you meet somebody, you kind of know. I didn't want anything to do with this person. They don't even have to say a damn word, but it could be looks because lots of times they avoid me. They always think I'm pissed off. I don't know, but that works to my favor.
If you had tattoos all over your face, I wouldn't want to talk to you.
Yeah, see, that's what I don't want to talk to anybody with tattoos on their damn face. That's a little bit much for me, but But no, I just believe that or you start to talk to some. Maybe that's more of knowing once somebody opens their mouth, you can kind of go, God, this person's full of crap, and he's just trying to shine me on. But it's just there is something about an aura to people that you can tell, even without talking to them, just seeing them.
And energy. Aura means energy, doesn't it?
Yes.
This, yeah. I don't want to say vibe again, because every time I say vibe, I got to drink.
Yeah.
Vibe. Good thing I only have Dr. Pepper.
Raul, I'm sorry about your stuff that you happened to you. But I
What's
think I have a vibe. A vibe about you that you're going to be cool for like the next 15 years. What do you think? Or should I give you 20?
Who are you talking to?
Raul,
Oh, okay.
what do you think? I'm talking to my ghost spirit over here.
Yes, sir.
We're almost all 60 years old. You
I
guys
went-
want
I
to
get out my calculator.
you're 80?
I got to get out my calculator. I got to figure out how long.
Yeah, you can't count to 18.
Not with my pants on. Oh, that's 21. Never mind. Wait a minute. I can't even figure out how. So I'll say 59.
Well, when I went to school, they didn't even let us have calculators.
No, you weren't allowed.
Well, they weren't invented yet. Jesus, God.
You weren't even allowed to go into class with your new Casio calculator watch thingy. You had to take that off. Now you're allowed to bring in your cell phone, your calculator, whatever you want.
You know, when my kids were growing up,
Breaking news.
Oh,
47 years we've known each other.
47 years.
you had to use a freaking calculator for that shit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Vibe.
And you want to be my salesman?
No, I want to be your accountant. So that's a long time.
47 years.
You're old.
Well, I have friends that are that much, the same age, except that I don't get to hang out with them like you do. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It is.
There's other people that we basically. I'm in the same town that I've come back, same town that I kind of grew up in. He's outside of the town. He's in Scotland. It's a hell of a drive for him to get here, and
A little wet.
yeah, a little wet with the windows rolled up. But there's a couple people I know. I've known for a long time. I see around, but I don't like talking to them all that much, though.
Yeah, I have 3 other friends that
Bragging now.
that I've known for 46 years, 45 years, but I don't get to see them. I get to talk to them on the phone once in a while. But
Yeah.
I don't hang out with them.
I had an opportunity about 4 or 5 months ago. My wife and my 2 daughters went up to Brooklyn for my brother-in-law's memorial. He passed away months before that, but they finally got together for a little memorial. And all of my old friends from childhood were there. And I chose not to go. I would have liked to have seen them, but it would have been like the Twilight Zone for me. It's like, what, 30 years in one day? Holy crap, what the hell happened here? It's true. So I just call me a pussy. I don't care what you say. But I just didn't want to go back.
No, I understand that.
It could be overwhelming.
Yes. Angus, I know you want to go up to that thing with Billy Ray and those guys.
September
I would
9th.
I would like to be there, but gee whiz, man.
Well, it the cheapest hotel I can find is like $300 a night.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't think so.
I,
Oh,
you know, if I was to fly in, I would take the train from like Newark into Manhattan, watch the show, take another train back to Newark, and just sleep in a chair until the plane is ready to take off the next day. I'm not going to waste $300-400 on it, which I'm going to. Sorry, I freeze.
I'm at the point right now. I'm looking at if I do it, it's going to be drive in on early Saturday morning and drive back out after it's over.
And I like to drink beer. I like my beer, and I don't want to. I don't mind taking public transportation, but then when you're on public transportation and you drink beer, it's like, damn, I got to take a piss. Where do I go? Where do I go?
You're on public transportation in New York. You go wherever.
Oh, I'm not going to tell you everywhere I've taken a piss in New York City.
Yeah, I don't want to know. Don't draw me a map, please. Go behind the shed. But I think that's a given.
Getting back to the paranormal, I used to hang out in this pub or an ale house that they call it, and it's the oldest bar in New York City, still existing. It opened up in 1854. It's called McSorley's Old Ale House. It's on the Lower East Side, the other side from the freaking queers. Sorry, Audi, if you're hearing me. But no, it's been there since 1854. Get your calculator up there. There he goes. It's show and tell. But I mean, this place had so much aura, or vibes. There I go. I got a drink again. It had so much energy. It had so much energy in this building.
Well, you could feel that energy, at my house in Coventry. I mean, certain days you'd walk through there, and just every hair on your arm and back of your neck would stand up.
Mm-hmm.
You knew something was there. You just couldn't see it, but you could feel it.
As long as you didn't feel like you were being harmed by it.
Right.
Well, yeah. If you ask my sister, she got she had something crawl into bed with her twice. I've never seen a person scream and move that fast ever.
Like my wife on our wedding night.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
We were never harmed, and it was all just moving stuff around, slamming doors, playing with everything.
And you can't blame it because the house is settling and the door wants to close this way or
right.
No,
that's something that, yeah.
Because I'm sorry, when you're standing there, you watch the toilet handle flush. That's not normal.
No, yeah. I believe 100% in that stuff. I do.
My wife, her family, like I was saying before, is from Nova Scotia, and I used to go to her grandparents' house, and my wife's sister's boyfriend would go, so we'd be, and they wouldn't, if you're not married, you can't sleep in the same room.
Right.
So me and my, then, he became my brother-in-law. We'd have to share a room.
Right.
And so
it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. So the next morning we both get up and I'm like, Frank, did you hear those footsteps last night? And there was footsteps in the attic, which the attic was, nobody was up there. And he's like, yeah, I heard that. He said, I didn't want to say anything. And it was, so I started talking to my wife about it, girlfriend then, and she starts telling me about all the experiences her family had. Her uncles saw people like in pilgrim type clothing and stuff. I found out years later that her grandfather found that house on another island and bought it back and put it on a foundation and built his house. So this is a house that God knows how long it was around, and then he built, you know. So what kind of spirits did you bring with it? It was nothing apparently that was evil, but just the residual. Because one of her uncles fell asleep on the couch. He said he woke up and he was telling my wife's grandmother he woke up and there was a woman and a kid standing there looking at him. And she was like, "Yeah, that's so and so. We've seen them before." Nobody was freaked out about it. It's like it's just weird. But to
What do
find
you
out,
think about what do you think about wood?
it
Trees.
burns. If it's dry, it burns good.
No, trees. Do you think they're alive?
Yeah, I mean that is weird when you talk about that. It's because they are living, right?
Yeah.
We don't consider them animals or creatures, but how do we know that? Do they have feelings? If you take a chainsaw to one, does it not feel that?
Don't tell me that.
Yeah, I know.
I'm a mass murderer at this point. No, but if you actually look at it and all the studies they've done playing music for plants and how it makes them grow better or it affects their growth, how can you not be alive if the music is actually manipulating your growth or adding to it?
The reason why I bring up wood is because talking about houses and bringing that aura of the person that lived there their whole life, that aura or energy is in that wood. You
Yep.
know, it's not an inanimate object. It's I didn't say that correctly, but
I know what you mean.
yeah, it's
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 like crystal. They
you
say
know.
crystal holds memories,
I was never a crystal person.
but I mean, I think it's kind of the same thing that you're talking about. Why would not trees hold a memory of everything? And your trees live to be way older than we do.
Hey, I live in the land of mighty pine trees here, and all it would take, knock on wood,
I get it.
is one tree would kill us all. And all I do, I'm not a tree hugger, but I will sit there and talk to them and say, please, if you're gonna fall, just don't hurt us. You know? And that happened a few years ago. A big pine tree fell 4 o'clock in the morning. It was like Sunday morning at 4 a.m., Monday morning. So it was right before rush hour. And it didn't hurt nobody. And my daughter heard it. And I walked down there and nobody got hurt. But at least it fell away from the house, just I I don't have the money to get these things cut down.
Oh, it's outrageous now.
But the thing that saddens me is I've moved here 22 years ago in this property, and they keep cutting everything, everything, everything. They're building houses on side of the hills. I don't know how they're doing it. You know, it's ridiculous. The amount of I don't know. How many trees you got on your property, Angus? 3?
Um, 2.5.
2.5. What happened to the other half? You ate it?
Yes. Well, we actually transplanted one from the front yard to the back, but it was all pine. Well, not all, but there was a lot of pine trees. I cut them down, put up some maples and stuff. There's woods behind my house, but it's not my property. Once you hit my end of my property, it's the woods after that. I don't like trees because I have to rake up after the sons of bitches.
Well, that's the thing that I always wanted to do was keep my property natural, the way it was. And now I'm kind of kicking myself in the butt because and it's growing a lot, buddy. I'll tell you. People are dying for water. They're in a drought, but it rains like it couldn't be over here in Western North Carolina. Everything is green.
Speaking of which, did you see about the fires in Hawaii?
You know, I don't know what to say about that. Directed energy weapons comes
Yeah,
into my
there
head
we go. Same thing I was thinking.
because
Conspiracy.
I'll see stuff burnt, and then I'll see trees that haven't even been touched. You know,
There was people that said they saw a beam, and this is actually this morning was the first I heard about it. I haven't seen the news, but it was brought up in conversation today, and that was absolutely the first I heard about it. But I've been getting texts from my West Coast sources, and they sent me some pictures, like you said, cars that are burnt and everything, trees not.
right?
There's something weird.
There was somewhere else. It was like what the West Coast or something like that years back.
A
You
couple of
know,
years ago, the fires on the West Coast seemed. I told them my West Coast connections. I'm like very similar to the Canadian fires.
mhm.
The Canadian fires just kind of started out of nowhere, but they were also missing. Was it thermite or something? They were missing 30 tons. The military is missing like I want to say it was thermite, but I might be wrong. But something that starts fires went missing just before all these fires started. And they said, well, it was lightning, it was thunder, but there was no thunderstorms during this time.
30 tons?
Yeah, 30 tons of them.
That's, that's
It
not
seems
like
a little bit lot, doesn't it?
That's not a box of.
No, I would see pictures of neighborhoods that were burnt to shit, and then their backyards look pristine. You know,
Well, so I was at my company had their sales meeting the week before last, and one of the guys was down from Canada, and he was complaining about the smoke in the air. He says, we don't have this in Toronto. I'm like, well, it's coming from you guys, so how can you say you don't have the smoke up there?
right?
So are they just burning? Not the cities, so they're just burning the outer edges, and it's crazy. It's a crazy conspiratorial world we live in, except it's not a conspiracy because they're trying to kill all of us.
The thing. I'm gonna get way off track here. The recycling thing. I bet you half the stuff that you put out for recycling actually gets recycled.
If
Oh, I
that
know.
if that much,
I know for a fact in Pennsylvania, where my sister and brother-in-law live, they actually stopped recycling because the group that was supposedly doing it went bankrupt because they were losing so much money that they're just throwing all their garbage in the garbage. There is no recycling.
Right.
It's like, what do you mean they're not making any money and the guys are going bankrupt?
And or just burning it. Just burning it.
yeah, that's what I've heard. A lot of the plastic is just getting burnt.
Yeah.
It's not even being recycled. They're making money off of every. Okay, so the state of Connecticut, up until this year, was 5 cents for a can of soda deposit.
Right.
You bring that back, you get your 5 cents. Now they upped it to 10.
Oh goodness, no.
So even if you had soda cans that were stamped 5 cents, they're suddenly worth 10 because they're betting that people aren't bringing them back because it's such a pain in the ass. They're throwing them in the recycling bin.
And they're charging you 10 cents a can.
Yeah, and they're making money off of this. It's all a freaking money grab. Is all this shit comes down to. Like anything that people go, I feel good because I recycled that. Well, you know what? They pulled one over on you because they don't care.
Yeah.
I've gotten to the point to where I don't think, that's why I like doing this for a podcast, just talking bullshit and just talking about nonsensical.
I recycle.
Talking about the shit that people think that they're making a change in.
Angus, that's not even your real name. I don't even know why I recycle your name.
That's my real name.
It is? Okay. I do recycle my aluminum beer cans.
God bless.
You know why? Because I make money off them. When I bring them, it used to be 65, 70 cents a pound. It's down to 60 cents a pound. but I have a cane crusher outside, so it's one of my things. That's why my right arm is bigger than my left. It's not from doing this.
Like Popeye. so
Thank you for clarifying that.
So speaking of which, while we've gotten off on this, your daily workout program here, let's run through the GI Joe thing one more time because I don't think that got recorded.
The Kung Fu Grip.
Yes.
What are you talking about with the super grip, the GI Joe?
Kung Fu Grip, man. That's where we started the show, but I don't think it got recorded because the computer went haywire. Or we save that for another time.
I'm fine. You want to do through it? You know, I might come up with a new thing.
The moment might have passed where it's not it was when we did
that kind of turned me on. That picture with GI Joe with his hand.
All right, then we're gonna do it
again.
Yeah. So anyway, I was investigating GI Joe, trying to figure out when he got his Kung Fu grip and all that, and I came across some disturbing information about GI Joe. And I'm going to share that with you. Nope, I don't want the entire screen right now. And come on,
bro, this guy can't work a computer. I mean, a calculator, and he's in charge of our
stuff. So as we see,
ask him to convert it into centimeters.
No, don't ask it. Well, it sounds huge when you say I'm 120 centimeters. So in 1964, so he's as old as all of us, G.I. Joe. In 1964, he had 12 inches. So now I think he developed his Kung Fu grip because suddenly he went from 12 inches to 3.75 inches, which might explain a lot. Because when I got my first G.I. Joe in like 1970, 72, he was anatomically incorrect. You know, I had
the big one. I had the big one, baby. But I had the real G.I.
Joe. So his Kung Fu grip came in 1974 is when Kung Fu grip was developed. And the hands were molded in a softer plastic. So right there, no calluses. Does that not make you think this is how he became anatomically incorrect? Because I believe that is what happened. But I also found some disturbing images of G.I. Joe. Oh, that's not it. Hold on. Damn it, where are they?
One plus one equals 3.
All right. Still there, John?
Hey, Raul. Who is this guy you got sitting next to me?
He's the computer expert. But I can't find the damn pictures of G.I. Joe. Oh, that sucks.
Oh,
it's
man.
My whole.
I'm looking.
It's ruined my whole. Oh, wait a minute. I know where they are.
I seen a picture earlier where G.I. Joe had his hand on Barbie's leg in the car.
That's what I'm looking for right now. I got it. I just have to get the. Oh, here we go, baby.
Here we go, baby. Bro, you're friends with this guy? I would run.
All right, so we have and present.
You know, every time I turn around, it's Saturday night. I mean, it's like weeks fly by like days. Every time, it's like Saturday night, every night. Weeks fly by like days. I'm retired now, so I guess that's why.
So here's G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe with his lifelike hair.
And his gun, too.
Yeah, and so now he's packing heat. Yeah. So now these mugshots come out. And, you know, they took his gun away. I mean, that's all it has to be. It has to be a freaking mugshot. Am I not wrong about that? And so did this lead up to, as you said, he's got his hands on Barbie's leg there. Oh no, I'm gonna go back. That's her. Either that or he's got 3
No,
arms. That's not enough.
no. He has
This
his
might have been
hand.
when he was 12 inches.
He has his hand around the back of her neck, so that's
He's
not
got his
his
hand
hand.
around her neck. So that's not a hand there.
Where's she reaching?
Yeah. So is this when she found out he was no longer packing? And that's my question. And then it might go back to where these mugshots come in because he might have strangled her or something because she was going to come out with the truth.
Who has more money,
It's crazy.
Barbie
I think this
or
needs to
G.I.
belong on
Joe?
that.
Oh, maybe that's what happened with Obama's chef.
Obama's chef. I think this is what happened with Big Mike.
Ugh.
You know about Big Mike, right,
Big Mike.
John?
What happened?
Big Mike is Michelle Obama.
Oh.
Oh yeah,
People say
I
that
knew
she's
that.
actually a dude.
I'm telling you, she's got more meat than I do. I'm just a simple Irishman.
Sorry to hear that, sir.
I'd rather hang out in the pub instead of going home sometimes. I hope my wife never watches this. My question is, who
well,
had
sir,
more
we got to wrap
money?
up pretty.
Who had more money, Barbie
Who?
or G.I. Joe?
Hey, Barbie. Well, G.I. Joe had a movie too, so I don't know.
Barbie just had a new movie come out, didn't it? Didn't she?
Yeah, G.I. Joe's not in it either.
Ah, was Barbie in a lesbian position in this movie?
Well, I mean, I guess with Ken.
Gender fluid.
Oh, gender fluid. That's nice. I'm gonna put that. That should be on a T-shirt. I'm gender fluid.
Well, give me a napkin. I'm gender fluid. Yeah.
Well, Debbie was saying, who was it? The guy from Whose Line Is It Anyways? The black guy.
I have no idea who that is.
I can't remember his name now, but he came out as pansexual.
The hell does that mean, pansexual?
I don't know. If you want to Google that.
All right, here we go, gentlemen. Hold on. We're going to Google pansexual. I'm afraid what's going to come up.
At least it's not my server.
Oh, look at the guy with it in a frying pan. Pansexual. Wayne Brady comes out as pansexual. And this means I don't know what it means. Oh, he's the guy from Let's Make a Deal.
Yeah, whose line is it? Yeah. But what is?
So that guy Grady from what's that show again? What's the name of it?
Let's Make a Deal.
Okay, the comedy show. Right? So he's the black guy that you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. He just came out and said he's a transsexual.
No.
Pansexual.
He likes cast iron pans.
What the hell does that mean?
That's what I'm trying to find. They are attracted to and may form sexual or romantic relationships with someone regardless of that person's gender identity or genitalia. It's like bisexual.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always thought that bisexual meant you bought it.
What they don't want to just come out and be like Audi and say you're gay? Is that what they're doing? They just don't want to say they're gay.
Right.
Well, yeah, it's just to get more. To me, they just want more attention. I'm pansexual. I'm not bisexual. I'm pansexual. What is that, sir? I'll hump anything that doesn't run away.
If you got enough money, I'll do you. You know.
I meet the cast iron pan, baby.
Angus Mustang, I'm telling you, your shows are out of this world, Angus. Thank you. Thank you, Raul.
Well, thank you for coming on because it's made it a lot of fun. And I'm going to put a disclaimer on this that may contain adult content covered by 3 childish people.
We are
And if you
three.
don't want to have fun, don't watch it. Sons of
We will
bitches.
never grow up. I'm telling you, we will never grow up.
I've seen
I
what
would,
supposed
I would say
I see
that
what's
to my
happening with
wife.
supposed grown-ups in this world. Screw them.
I would
You
say that
talk
to my
about people
wife.
who wipe their ass. Let's
Oh,
start with every freaking politician in DC.
I wish they would just all go away.
I just let me finish this off on a closing note. So I was in DC on Tuesday night, and around here, my friends, people, family, everybody's having a hard time because things are just gotten way out of control. As far as prices and everything. So I'm in DC. We ended up, I was meeting customers there. This is on a Tuesday night, and we are in the wharf, which is by the Smithsonian and all that. If you go across the river, you can get a hotel room reasonable. You cross that bridge by the Smithsonian, you're paying out the ass for a hotel room.
The
A
Potomac,
Tuesday night, huh?
Potomac River.
Yes. So
Mhm.
you go into DC, we go to the wharf on a Tuesday night. It is freaking mobbed. I'm talking. It was wall to wall people at these fancy restaurants, not just adults, but they have their kids and all that. It's like the economy doesn't affect these people. And so when you cross the Potomac back to the side where I was, they call that Crystal City. That's a new name. I don't know what it was before, but now it's Crystal City. And there's all it is a skyline of cranes putting up new freaking high rise condos and apartments and all that. And it's like, where does all this money coming from? So in the morning, we're leaving early in the morning. The construction guys are coming in. They're all wearing their little helmets and all that. They look like they were maybe got off the short bus or something. But I'm
Bob the
telling
Builder. Bob the Builder.
you, hey, I'm not going to be racist about this because I have a lot of Mexican friends and Mexicans work hard. But these people are all from across the border. So are they still bringing? Is that why they're bringing these people in? Is to build their freaking Crystal City, which so what was that back in the days? They're Rome or whatever, so that they're above us. I mean, that's the way it felt. Is that DC is isolated from the rest of the country. Whatever happens outside here, we don't give a crap about you people. So that's why I think they need to succeed. We need to push them into succession. Become your own freaking country. We'll run ours. Get the hell out. Because
I don't understand how these politicians like Pelosi could sit there in office for her whole freaking life, make a shitload of money, and just say she retired, and then everybody just lets her walk away, and we never see her again.
Look at Dianne Feinstein. They're pushing her in and out in a wheelchair because she can't do anything for herself. How is she getting elected?
Who is voting for her? Yes. Angus would vote for her. I'm sure he would.
maybe.
He likes the rims on the wheelchair.
Oh,
Angus, when you say maybe, you got to put your hand up like maybe.
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 You're a sick man, John. I love it.
It's a Brooklyn thing, you know. You guys are great, man. I have to go to the shed, so if you want to cut the show off or you want to wait for me,
No, we got to wrap it up. I gotta make Raul dinner here.
well, you pay him dinner and you don't pay me nothing. At least give me a peanut butter and jelly
I
sandwich.
saw your $250 an hour proposal, but
Yeah.
I charged $350 to be on my podcast. Nah.
Oh, you got me by $100, and I didn't
And I
need
didn't need
a
my
calculator.
calculator, baby.
Yeah.
So
All
let's
right,
do
guys.
this again sometime soon, John.
Yeah, man. I had fun. That's what it's all about for me is having fun.
That's right, exactly.
Nice to meet you,
Raul,
sir.
it was a pleasure meeting you. Angus, you were great.
All right,
You
John.
want
It was
you
a good
want to
time.
play us out?
No, I'm going to edit it all together. I'll send you the link in the morning.
Oh man, you gonna do this tonight?
No, I'll do it in the morning. It doesn't take long.
All right. I have an upstairs to this building, and I know there's nobody up there. We just use it for storage, you know. But sometimes I hear things up there, and I just don't want to go up there.
Well, well, next time we'll film it live. You bring your laptop up there and film shit as it's actually happening.
Oh shoot! I'll see you guys later.
Take care, John.
Peace
Bye.
out, guys.
Bye. He's fun.